Bruce, let's go home. So what do I want to talk about? Oh yeah, so Russian hackers. Apparently Russian hackers hacked the election, according to the Washington Post, citing a report that fails to mention details, explicitly states that they don't have any direct evidence that the Kremlin was involved in hacking the DNC. Specifically states that there's some dispute between the different intelligence agencies as to the certainty over whether or not Russians actually hacked John Podesta and Hillary Clinton's emails. And so now, of course, everybody's in a hullabaloo about, well, we need to, look into this because we can't have our elections being determined by foreign espionage and cyber attacks. And it's just, the recounts didn't work. The riots didn't work. It's just insane. Like this. Now, who's it? Harry Reid is saying that the electors, before they go cast their ballots in a week, they need to be given intelligence briefings. They need to be shown the intelligence briefings based on the supposed hack of the DNC and the Podesta emails, so that they can come to a determination of whether or not they should give their votes for Trump. Like, this is I have never seen a more concerted effort to undermine the electoral process than this election by the team that lost. It is absolutely insane what we're seeing. I'm flabbergasted, to use a word. And now apparently, some CIA analyst is coming. This is according to, I think they're called Truth Feed or something like that. Some online news site. I don't know how reliable they are. But basically, they're saying that the Washington Post article was complete fabrication, that the CIA never came out and said unequivocally that Russian hackers were involved. And now this is, of course, another unnamed CIA analyst. I mean, at the end of the day, can you really trust what the CIA says anyway about anything? Their whole job, their whole purpose is to deceive. They are a spy agency. They engage in subterfuge and the manipulation and they insinuate themselves into foreign governments all the time. This is what they do. This is their raison d'etre, right? And so, can you really trust them when they say, "Oh yeah, we have knowledge that Russians hacked the DNC and John Podesta's emails"? How can I believe anything they say? I mean, Trump was right when he said these are the guys who said that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, which he didn't. It's ridiculous. And what's more, WikiLeaks stated that this wasn't a hack, that the information from the DNC was leaked to them. John Podesta's emails, from what I understand, and I mean, don't take me for 100% authority on this, but apparently his emails were hacked because he left his BlackBerry in a car or something. He forgot his BlackBerry somewhere, for crying out loud. I mean, what it comes down to is basically, if there was a failure on anybody's part, it was a failure on the part of the Obama administration and the State Department for allowing these things to happen. mean, I don't know. It's just crazy. Oh, and what's more is, there's this British intelligence analyst who says he spoke directly to the leaker of the information. WikiLeaks says there was no hack, it was leaked. This British intelligence guy says it wasn't a hack. The information was leaked. It was let out. So it's a bunch of fucking nonsense. And once again, it blows my mind how much. I mean, I witnessed, and I haven't been as involved, I guess, or engrossed in it as in previous years, but I've witnessed elections in the past, and I've never ever seen such a concerted effort by the losers to undermine the winner. And yeah, fine, Trump's a divisive character, so what? This notion that, I mean, again, Trump tweeted out, and he makes a very valid point. If Trump had lost, and he had floated the idea that Russian hackers were involved in getting Hillary elected, he would have been called a conspiracy theorist. And it wouldn't matter what news agency put it out there. He would have been called a conspiracy theorist and a nut job. It's insane. I don't know. I will breathe a heavy sigh of relief on January 20th when Trump is inaugurated. Although, the way it looks, it seems as though that may not happen. They're doing everything in their power to make it not happen. They are pulling out all the stops. So if he isn't assassinated before he becomes president, and he isn't, he may very well be assassinated after he becomes president. I mean, they're doing everything to assassinate his character. They're doing everything to undermine his legitimacy. It's insane. And then today, I'm on Twitter and I'm arguing with some schmuck about how Hillary won the GDP. I'm like, what? AP released something along the lines of, I can't remember what it was, but basically, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by whatever, 2.5 million. And that Trump's claims about it being a landslide electoral college victory are spurious because it's not true. I mean, basically, there have been people who won more electoral college seats or electoral college votes in past elections. His doesn't come close to what we consider a landslide. Never mind that landslide is a literary term. It's a rhetorical term. It doesn't have any there's no qualifier or quantifier for what constitutes a landslide. Okay? From my perspective, over 300 electoral votes could be considered a landslide. In the same way that if, you won a football game by, 4 touchdowns, that's, 24 points? I consider that a landslide victory. I mean, I know voting and football are the same thing. But the whole thing was that, no, his doesn't qualify for a landslide because in the history of presidential elections, more other presidents have won with more electoral college votes, and they cited different years. But if you look back at a lot of them, they included large giant states like California. So by the Associated Press's metric, the only way to win a landslide is by winning California, which means it's nigh impossible in recent history for a Republican to ever win an electoral college landslide. So I made the point on Twitter, well, what about counties? I mean, he won way more counties than Hillary did. And then somebody said, oh yes, because land masses matter. And I'm like, what are you talking about, land masses? Counties represent districts of voting, like voting districts where people live and they vote. That's why, that's how they break it up. There's a district It includes a county, or it includes an area which comprises, small municipalities, and they call that a county. So in terms of number of counties won, Trump won way more counties than Clinton did. Way more. And then someone comes back, yeah, well, she won the popular vote by 2.5 million and growing. I'm like, okay, yes, they're going to continually find more votes to show how wide of a margin the popular vote was. But again, as far as I'm concerned, popular vote's a participation prize. Who fucking cares? It's like most miscongeniality. Who cares? And she won the GDP. This is a new one for me, and apparently this is all the rage on some forums. Apparently she won the GDP because the counties that she did win are more economically vibrant. They're more responsible for contributing to the overall GDP than the counties that Trump won. And I'm like, who fucking cares? Who cares? Who cares about GDP? Dollars don't matter. So what they're saying is basically they want to have an electoral system that works like Hunger Games. So that the richest counties, the people who make the most money, their votes should count for more. It's absolutely ridiculous. I cannot get over the mental gymnastics going on by the losing team. It's insane. A bunch of fucking twats. Anyway, that's just my thought on it. And of course, they go on this big long stream, and I mean, I ended my tweets with, okay, fine. You know what? Face it, sweetheart. You backed the wrong horse. I know it hurts, but you lost. That's all there is to it. And of course, they keep going on and on and on. Like, I get all these notifications about people responding and retweeting their zingers. These, I BTFO'd because they said they won the GDP. I mean, are you kidding me? BTFO'd, she won the GDP. Nobody elects a president based on how rich the voters were who voted for him, or how upwardly mobile the voters are in a given district. Who fucking cares? I mean, in one sense, they scream for democracy. They're like, we should have it more a direct democracy where the popular vote counts for something in the electoral process in the United States. And then they go on to say, but she won the GDP, so that's even more valid because, he won more counties, but the counties that she won, they make more money. So they either want a direct democracy or they want to have an electoral college based on the GDP of the counties that were won. Unbelievable. This is the Democratic Party. This is the left-leaning party. These are the people on the left, right? The ones who are supposedly, for the marginalized in society, and they're talking about, well, we should decide our elections based on, or the people who won the election are actually the ones who make the most money. Their votes should count for more. Absolutely insane that this is the Democratic Party. And there's a guy I follow on Twitter. I can't remember what his name is. Bill Mitchell? Is it Bill Mitchell? I don't know. Mitchell. I think it's Bill Mitchell. Anyway, he was saying something along the lines of, I don't understand the Democrat Party's insistence on the popular vote being a thing, or something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing, of course, because I'm stream of consciousness from memory. Anyway, I just tweeted a response. I'm like, it's simple why they think that way. Democrats want democracy. Republicans tend to want a republic, right? So Democrats would prefer a direct democracy where the voters determine who the president's going to be. Republicans want to have a republic, want to maintain the electoral college, want to maintain the republic system where representatives determine who the president's going to be based on the electoral college. Now, of course, it can bite either one of them in the ass, so why either one of them, would be vehemently supportive of one system over another speaks to principle. So basically, if Republicans realize that their system can one day bite them in the ass if another, if the Democrats win the electoral vote at one point, they're still standing by the Electoral College. They're not saying it should be by popular vote, because that's how the framers of the Constitution made it. The Electoral College works exactly as it was intended. Exactly as it was intended. So, and I know there's going to be people who come out and will say, well, historically it was done so that racist white people, their votes counted more. It's a throwback to the abolition of slavery, and it was a trade-off because the former slave states wanted to have more electoral power. And I mean, that's all minutia in the overall system that only exists in a historical context of a specific period of time in the U.S. history. The original intent of the Electoral College was to not have a direct democracy, because direct democracies are tyrannies of the majority on the minority. And the framers of the Constitution knew that, and that's why it exists to this day. That's why it existed then. That's why it exists to this day. Anyway, I didn't do this to have a civics lesson, but I just, whatever, wanted to rant about my Twitter experience today. Anyway, that's it for me. Have a good one.